The House and the Senate are both in session for an abbreviated week. The House doesn't come in until Tuesday. The Senate starts today with some judicial nominations. They're going to work on the human trafficking bill and then perhaps consider the nomination of Loretta Lynch to be Attorney General of the United States. The House, when they come in tomorrow, they'll deal with some legislation under the suspension of the rules process. Then they're going to consider a bill that CUNA supports related to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's advisory commissions. And what this legislation would do is it would codify the Credit Union Advisory Commission in addition to some other commissions that the CFPB has created. We support this bill because we found the Credit Union Advisory Commission is an important way, a good way for credit unions to provide feedback to the Bureau on its rulemaking. They weren't required to set this up under law. We want to make sure that it continues when a new director is appointed to the CFPB. The House is also going to consider cybersecurity legislation dealing with information sharing and maintaining the critical infrastructures necessary to protect data. And we support the cybersecurity bills that are on the floor this week as well. As usual, we're following a number of committee hearings and committee meetings on both sides of the Capitol. There's one that's of particular note, and it'll be on Thursday in the House Financial Services Committee's Subcommittee on Financial Institutions and Consumer Credit. This hearing is going to be on regulatory burden facing credit unions and small banks. What makes this hearing different than the hearing that we testified at a few weeks ago is that this hearing, the committee is going to hear from regulators. We expect NCUA will be on the panel, and it's going to be an opportunity for the members of the subcommittee to explore a broad range of issues on how the regulations that the regulators are imposing impact credit unions, small banks, and those that they serve. We expect that NCUA will get a number of questions on the risk-based capital proposal, on its other recent rulemakings, on its budget. This is an opportunity for the committee to explore all of those issues and others. Last week was a very important week in terms of our efforts to get Congress to enact data security legislation. This is an issue that we've been working on for several years and very intensely since the Target and Home Depot data breaches. Senators Tom Carper and Roy Blunt introduced legislation last week, the Data Security Act. This is the first data security bill that we've seen that essentially accomplishes the principles that we've laid out in terms of data breach notification, security standards, liability, and preemption. It's a very strong bill, and that's one of the reasons why we are issuing today a call to action to credit unions to contact their senators and encourage them to support S961, the Data Security Act. It's really important that we show strong support for this legislation because there may be an opportunity in the coming weeks to consider it when the Senate turns to cybersecurity legislation. We don't expect that to happen perhaps until late May or early June, but the time is now for us to show the support for the Carper-Blunt Data Security Bill.